Imagine for a moment that every fear you carry, every insecurity you hide, every flaw you're ashamed of is not a problem to be fixed but a signal, a clue, a map. What if the most uncomfortable parts of you are not mistakes but messages? What if your deepest struggles are the very things designed to point you toward your true self? This is not a metaphor. It's a reality Carl Jung understood with startling clarity. Jung called it the shadow, the hidden dimension of the psyche that contains the parts of ourselves we reject, suppress, or disown. These aren't just negative traits or toxic impulses. They are pieces of your identity, sealed away because at some point you were told they weren't acceptable. They didn't fit the story. But here's the truth Jung revealed. Everything you run from in yourself contains something you've been running toward all along. Your anger might hide your courage. Your envy might reveal your untapped desire for growth. Your fear of failure might be protecting a vision of greatness you haven't dared to claim. The shadow is not your enemy. It is the buried potential of your soul, and that changes everything. We tend to live on the surface, curating a version of ourselves that is palatable, polite, pleasing. But underneath that mask, there is a storm of thoughts and feelings we've learned to suppress. Maybe you felt it, that flash of irritation that seems too sharp for the moment, that sudden sadness you can't explain, that recurring tension in your relationships. That's your shadow calling out for recognition. Jung believed that the first step to wholeness is to turn toward the shadow instead of running from it, because ignoring it only strengthens it. Like a beach ball pushed underwater, the more you resist it, the more violently it returns. But if you can lift it gently into the light, not with judgment but with curiosity, something profound happens. You begin to meet yourself, not just the version you show the world, but the totality of who you are. Let's pause here and look at your life through this lens. What parts of yourself do you hide from others or from yourself? Is it a hidden anger, an irrational jealousy, a desire you've labeled as too much? Is it a dream you've silenced because it felt selfish, or a part of you you've learned to deny to stay safe? Now ask yourself, what if this isn't a flaw? What if it's a signal? Jung called the process of embracing the shadow individuation, the integration of your conscious self with the hidden, unconscious aspects of your personality. It's not about fixing what's wrong. It's about becoming whole. And this journey is not hypothetical. You've seen it play out again and again, in stories, in myths, in art. Every great hero reaches a moment of confrontation, not with an external enemy, but with their own inner darkness. Hercules battling his rage, Luke Skywalker facing his own shadow in the form of Darth Vader, Neo waking up to the truth of his identity. These aren't just fantasy, they are archetypes of your own inner journey. You are not meant to live a life of shallow comfort. You are meant to walk into the depths of who you are and come back carrying something sacred. And here's where it gets powerful. The shadow does not just appear in your private thoughts. It shows up in your emotions, your relationships, your reactions. Have you ever overreacted to something small? Felt triggered by someone's confidence, success, or behavior? Have you caught yourself judging someone harshly, only to later realize they were expressing something you've suppressed in yourself? That's not coincidence. That's your shadow trying to get your attention. Jung famously said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." The people who provoke you often reflect back what you are unwilling to acknowledge in yourself. This is projection, a key feature of the shadow. The more we deny a part of ourselves, the more likely we are to see it exaggerated in others. You think you're disgusted by their arrogance, but really, you've buried your own voice. You're triggered by their ambition, but really, you've silenced your dreams. You're tired of their emotional neediness, but perhaps it reflects your own unmet needs. Once you see this clearly, it changes how you move through the world. You stop blaming. You start listening. You stop defending. You start understanding. You don't stop feeling, but you begin to interpret your feelings with insight instead of shame. This awareness is where transformation begins. And here's the deeper invitation. The shadow holds not only the traits we dislike, but also the gifts we've abandoned. That childhood dream you let go of. that talent you felt too shy to express, that wildness you buried beneath your good behavior. All of it lives in the shadow, waiting for your permission to emerge. Most people think their purpose is something they'll stumble upon, a job title, a calling, a role, but Jung saw it differently. Purpose isn't found, it's uncovered. It's already in you. The more of yourself you integrate, light and shadow alike, the more aligned you become with the life you're meant to live. Think of the people who inspire you most, the artists, leaders, thinkers who leave a lasting mark. Almost always, their greatness is born not from perfection, but from embracing their own contradictions. Frida Kahlo's raw, painful paintings, James Baldwin's burning truth, Martin Luther King Jr.'s righteous anger transformed into compassionate action. These people met their darkness. They didn't deny it, they used it. Now, imagine doing the same with your own life. It begins with a single question. What is my shadow trying to show me? You may be surprised at what surfaces. Not just pain, but wisdom. Not just fear, but freedom. In the next part, we'll go deeper into tools, practices, and the process of integration. You'll learn how to not only identify your shadow, but begin living from a place of wholeness, strength, and clarity. Because the final truth is this: your shadow is not the thing holding you back, it is the key to your becoming. By now, you've seen what the shadow is, not a monster to slay, but a messenger bearing the truth you've been avoiding. But knowing your shadow is only the beginning. The real change happens when you start to live with it, not in resistance, but in relationship. Integration is the key. Awareness without action is just another layer of self-deception. To truly transform, you must bridge the gap between knowing your shadow exists and bringing it into your daily life. That bridge is made of two things: radical honesty and emotional discipline. Radical honesty means seeing yourself clearly, without filters, without excuses. It means admitting to the parts of you that feel jealous, insecure, angry, needy. Not to indulge them, not to wallow in them, but to understand them. Because only what you face can be transformed. Think of it this way: you can't renovate a house if you pretend the cracks in the walls don't exist. You can't evolve if you keep denying the places inside you that ache for healing. So when you feel a strong reaction, irritation, defensiveness, anxiety, don't immediately look outward. Look in. Ask yourself, what is this really about? What part of me is being reflected back through this moment? Am I triggered because I'm seeing something in them that I've disowned in myself? This shift from projection to introspection changes everything. And once you've identified a hidden part of yourself, begin the process of dialogue. Jung often had his patients imagine sitting across from their shadow and simply asking questions. Why are you here? What are you trying to protect me from? What do you want me to understand? You can do this through journaling, meditation, or visualization. What matters is creating space, not to act out every impulse, but to listen, to witness your own hidden self without shame, because your shadow is not evil. It's emotional energy that was exiled. When you invite it back, not only do you heal, you reclaim power. You stop living on 50% of your capacity. And the impact, it's immediate. Your relationships shift. The shadow doesn't just shape your inner world, it defines how you connect with others. Ever notice how you keep attracting the same types of people? How the same conflicts seem to follow you from job to job, friendship to friendship? That's not bad luck. That's unhealed patterns replaying themselves. When you become aware of your shadow, you stop blaming others and start asking better questions. Why does this dynamic feel familiar? What am I being shown about myself? You begin to see that the people who trigger you most often mirror parts of you you haven't integrated. And once you make that conscious, the power struggle ends. You don't need to fight them. You just need to free yourself. This is why true inner work leads to better outer connections. When you own your shadow, you become less reactive, less defensive, more compassionate, not just to others but to yourself. And compassion leads to authenticity. The more of yourself you accept, the more honest you become. You stop needing to perform to prove to be the good one, the perfect one, the one who always holds it together. You stop hiding behind roles. And when you show up without masks, something miraculous happens. The people who were only connected to your performance fall away, and the ones who meet the real you stay. But shadow work isn't just about healing. It's about unlocking power, creative, spiritual, emotional. Because all the energy you used to spend suppressing your shadow, it's still there. And when you stop pushing it down, it becomes fuel. That hidden anger, it can become boldness. That shame, it can turn into empathy. That craving for attention, it may hold the key to your creative expression. The most impactful people in history weren't flawless. They were fearless in their self-exploration. Artists, leaders, creators, they touched the world because they first touched the darkest corners of themselves. They used their shadow as a palette, not a prison. So ask yourself, what am I hiding that could become a gift? What passion have I abandoned because it scared me? What have I labeled too much, too dark, too selfish, when maybe, just maybe, it's my path? Jung believed that the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And that doesn't mean becoming perfect. It means becoming whole. It means living in alignment with your full self, light, dark, and everything in between. It's not easy. Integration means confrontation. It means discomfort. It means letting go of who you think you should be to finally meet who you already are. And here's the most important part. Your shadow is not only about you. Jung believed that when one person integrates their shadow, they don't just heal themselves, they help heal the collective. Because you are not separate from the world, your wholeness ripples outward. A person who has met their shadow becomes more understanding, more present, less judgmental, less reactive. Imagine what the world would be like if more people stopped projecting their pain and started healing it. If instead of blaming, we reflected. Instead of controlling, we connected. That is the revolution the world is starving for. And it begins not in politics or institutions or theories, but in the quiet, honest work of one person facing their shadow and saying, I see you. I'm not afraid of you anymore. Let's do this together. So here is your final challenge. Look within, not just at what shines, but at what's buried. Ask, what am I ready to reclaim? What part of me deserves a voice again? What would my life look like if I stopped running from myself? This isn't a destination. It's a lifelong path. But with every step toward your shadow, you take a step closer to your truth, your purpose, your peace. So start today. Not by becoming someone new, but by becoming more of who you've always been. And remember, you are not broken. You are not too much. You are not too dark. You are becoming whole.